Sea conducting some of the largest war games in recent memory. This unusually large display of military force comes as North Korea increasing activity at one of its nuclear sites, leading some to question Kim Jong-un's ability to keep his alleged denuclearization promise. Here now to discuss, Christian White, former Department Senior Advisor under Trump and Bush 43, currently Senior Fellow at the Center for National Interest and Senior Vice President at Banner Public Affairs, along with Dean Cheng, East Asia expert for the Heritage Foundation. Christian, it's so amazing. We had the launch of Satan II from Russia. We've got this armada of Chinese warships, including a pretty impressive looking aircraft carrier. And of course, North Korea, a lot of activity. They haven't done a nuclear missile launch or missile test since November. What do you make of it all?
Well, I think it's specifically in regard to China and North Korea, the Western Pacific continues to be a place that there are a lot of risk factors, a lot of dangers. China poses a big risk in cyberspace and with its theft of technology, but its conventional military is sort of at the tail end of a very long, years-long buildup. Serious naval force on display in the Taiwan Strait, sending a political message very clear there. With North Korea, it's a reminder, this is a new reactor, a newer reactor. The one we've heard the most about at Yongbyon is one that produces plutonium. This is a light water reactor. It has to run on enriched uranium, so it could be a cover for a uranium project in addition to the plutonium weapons project they have. We do know we have both of those going on. So just a reminder that these threats continue to percolate and time isn't necessarily on our side.
Well, are they a deliberate reminder, though? I mean, the reminders seem to be at very timely, and I'm certainly sure that not accidental points. Christian?
Yeah, I think they are. Yes, they. This is the Chinese are very good at planning, very strategic, and with North Korea, the fact that this is sort of leaked out now, I think it's just a signal. It's less in your face than another nuclear test or ICBM test, but nonetheless a reminder that these capabilities exist.
Dean, I remember about 3 or 4 years ago, the Chinese bought an old aircraft carrier from, I think it was from one of the former Russian nations, one of the former USSR satellite countries. And I read somewhere that it would take them 10 years to learn how to operate it. You fast forward a few years, and whoever wrote that article was completely wrong, because now it looks like they're unveiling their own technology that looks pretty impressive.
Absolutely. In fact, at one point, one of the heads of the Office of Naval Intelligence basically came out and said, we have been consistently underestimating China's military buildup. That carrier wasn't supposed to be able to do flight operations. If they did, it would be so-called touch-and-go landings. Now we're watching them basically, catapulting planes while using their ski ramp and landing normally. This latest war game is only the most recent example of how the Chinese are doing this. And by the way, they've now launched a domestically produced aircraft carrier. That's an improvement on the one that we're seeing right now in the South China Sea.
So what do you make of it, Dean? I mean, what are the implications, and what is the message? Because there's always a message.
The message here is basically, don't mess with us. This is a message that Beijing is sending not only to the United States, but to all of its neighbors. It has built artificial islands in the South China Sea. It has deployed military forces to them, and this is saying not only can we put forces on those islands, we can reinforce if necessary. It's the same kind of message that Kim Jong-un is sending from North Korea right now, which is, we may be talking denuclearization, but we're going to talk denuclearization on our terms. And there it's also useful to remember, when the North Koreans talk denuclearization, they're talking about the U.S. leaving South Korea.
Right. Christian, so where does this leave us? I mean, we feel like we're coming to some kind of boiling point here.
Yeah, well, with North Korea, unfortunately, the dictator, Kim, has, thanks to his own actions and his father's, earned a seat at the table and will be sitting across from the U.S. president. I'm glad the president's doing it, and I do hope we can cut a deal, even if it doesn't fully denuclearize the Korean Peninsula, which I think is far-fetched, to at least freeze the program. With China, no nation, including our own, frankly, has had a naval buildup like that and not eventually had an adventure. So it calls for a bigger Navy and Air Force on our part, I think.
Gentlemen.